it's Jemima here from Soundsphere. Today I have Matt Oliphant from the Adelphi Club. He's the events manager. Thank you for speaking with me today, Matt. So firstly, how are you doing with the pandemic and everything?
I'm all right. Yeah, well, I've not got it, so that's a bonus, isn't it?
It's always a bonus, yeah.
Still busy, still working, so yeah.
Good. So for those viewing who aren't really aware of Adelphi Club, can you tell us a little bit about the club itself and what you do there and how you came to work at Adelphi?
Sure. The Adelphi is basically an underground music venue, independent since 1984, and it's kind of used to be on what it's called the Toilet Tour, but they don't call it anymore. They call it the Grassroots Music Venue. So it's basically gives a platform or the first step on the kind of touring stage. So it makes bands that might not have previously had the chance to perform outside of their own city or even within Hull, gives them a shot, and then they go on to bigger and better things a lot of the time. They always normally come back and do as a big show. So that's, we had Oasis, Green Day, Pulp, Radiohead, Stone Roses, all these guys, and a lot of them since have come back many years later and given us big shows. So we like to promote music as an art form. It's not always stuff that is very radio friendly, and it's a lot of artists that we like to call are too good to be famous. So that's the kind of thing we like to do there. I've been there for eight years, just over 8 years, and I was a student in Hull, and I DJ'd, and after DJing one night, I found a Facebook message from someone that worked at the Adelphi saying, Jacko wants to talk to you. And Paul Jackson's the guy that owns the club. So I was like, oh God, what have I done? Came down the next day and he said, do you want a job? I said, yeah, go on then. So I've been there ever since. And I've been the venue manager for a number of years, but then we split my role into two. We had a bar manager and an events manager, and I became the events manager, basically.
Right, okay. So since COVID-19, what changes have been implemented at the Adelphi Club?
Well, we're not open is one change. We've basically become a glorified merch shop and radio station, really. So we're doing podcasts and live streams. Well, we did live streams during the first lockdown. We did a couple every week, and that was great. But then this time we decided to do them as a pre-recorded podcasts instead. And we release an archived gig poster every Monday for sale. And we do T-shirts, and we've got scarves and mugs and all that kind of stuff. So it's changed a lot. Yeah, pretty much. It's changed a lot in the sense that we're not really running as a music venue. We were lucky enough to be able to do 6 nights in the car park in end of August, start of October.
How did they go?
Yeah, they were perfect. They were amazing. Council were happy. Police was happy. Everyone was COVID secure and under a gazebo, and it was great.
Was it like a socially distanced gig then? Or?
Yeah, basically everyone sat down on tables in bubbles.
Okay.
So we did 3 weekends, and there was 6 artists each day. So it was 12 artists a weekend.
Right.
It's just like a mini car park festival, basically.
Lovely.
So that was great. We were hoping then to be able to open kind of October. That was going to be like our opening, and then it just never happened, obviously. So
So do you think you're going to do any more of these car park festivals sort of thing?
Yeah, we wanted to, but the last one, which was like the 10th of October, was so cold.
Yeah, I mean, it's freezing now, isn't it? So
we were like, maybe we'll do some more, and everyone was like, maybe not, maybe wait a bit later on in the year or something. So
yeah, definitely. So obviously with the pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs. Has that been the case for Adelphi? Have many people been let go, or they moved to different sectors? What do you think the long-term effects of that's going to be as well?
Well, I mean, outside of the Adelphi, it's going to be huge, but the Adelphi itself has always been like a family, very kind of close community. And we're lucky in the sense that, apart from me, historically, really, 99% of the people that work at the Adelphi have other incomes, and they don't work at the Adelphi because they need to. They work at the Adelphi because they love the place, and they do like a bit of extra pocket money, and they just want to be at all the gigs and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it's affected too many of our staff. But like I said, we literally made the decision at the end of last year to split my job into two, and the person that took on the bar manager role has since been made to let go, basically. But he's landed on his feet and he's fine, and it's none of it's
good. That's reassuring. Yeah,
he knew it was coming for a long time, and he's also a part of the family, so it's all worked out okay, I think.
Well, that's good.
It's tough. It's really tough, and it's been the biggest headache of it all for us. Just not being able to kind of work out whether we can keep the people that do our website going, the people that we can ask people to come in and do the merch, or are we going to have to do it? Or it's just, and it's horrible not to be able to start bar staff, just to be able to give them any money. It's just a nightmare. So yeah, so it has been tough. That's definitely been many sleepless nights.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm glad at least you've pretty much got most people employed still, right? Is everyone furloughed? And
pretty much, yeah.
Okay, good. So like you've mentioned family quite often, so describing Adelphi is a lot more community run than as a grassroots when you compare to like places that obviously we lost in Hull, so Welly, Polar Bear. Do you think this has been a big factor in keeping Adelphi going? The fact that it is like community run and it is like a bit of a family?
Yeah, well, as of 2019, so I think it was December the 1st, 2019, we became a community interest company, which is basically one step away from being a charity. So it's a not-for-profit organisation, which was good for us pre kind of pandemic, or ever having, no one even knew the word pandemic meant, but pre all that, it was good because it's always been Paul Jackson's business, and you know, people aren't always around forever. So he was thinking he doesn't want it to just disappear when he moves on. He wants it to kind of be able to carry on in some sense, and that was the safest way of doing it. So we became that for basically the longevity of the club. But in doing that, and then the pandemic kicked off a year or so later, it's opened more avenues to funding for us, which we ever thought would be possible. If we'd remained kind of just a sole trader, just like a normal business, we would not have been able to get like the Arts Council funding that we got a emergency fund Arts Council thing, which was amazing, which has helped us very much. And also Hull City Council gave us a grant as well. So I think we did it. We did something right for once, and we've been quite lucky in that sense. But for businesses and for music venues over the country in general, I think it's been an absolute nightmare. I don't think they've got the support that they've needed at all. But Mark David at the Music Venue Trust, those guys are doing a lot of good work to try to keep it going. But we've not needed to lean on them very much, thankfully. So
that's really positive.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's normally anything about the Adelphi is a bit doom and gloom, and we're not going to last the month, and we're not going to do this, but we've been okay, actually.
Pretty sure. That's great. Yeah, good. Well, you kind of answered my next question, which was, has the government offered much support? So, well, for you guys at least.
Kind of, but still not enough. And really, it's been the Arts Council that we've had to jump through the hoops of, and because we got one, we weren't allowed to apply for another. So it's not been great. But we've had Sally Curry doing all the what you call it, funding bids for us. So we're very lucky in that respect, because I wouldn't have been able to do it. Let's put it that way.
Right. So obviously, like with the pandemic, we've all kind of experienced lockdown isolation. We know how crappy life is basically when you can't do anything and things aren't accessible to you. Do you think music venues in particular, are going to be a bit more open-minded to making their facilities more accessible, for example, like to disabled people, or whatever. Now we've all kind of had this taste of isolation, I guess.
I'd like to think so, wouldn't you? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. I memean, it was in our plans we've been drawing. This is just between me and you and everybody else. We've been
No.
drawing plans about how to kind of move the Adelphi forward somewhat, because it can't stay the way that it is forever.
Is it wheelchair accessible at the moment?
It is wheelchair accessible, yeah, but we haven't got a disabled toilet, so that's what we have been working out recently, and it's something that we've put in 2 bids in the last year, and the big bid is going to be for stuff like a disabled toilet and things like that. So, but at the moment, I mean, it's the staff are so well informed and we're so easily contactable that if we've got most of the wheelchair users or any other disability that comes to the gigs, we know them pretty well. So they kind of just call us up and say, we're going to be outside at 8. So we let them in the other door, get them to the front and that kind of thing. And it's just, that's the kind of family thing again, isn't it? I suppose that's the community. I shouldn't say family, I should say community, I think. There you go.
What acts actually for next year are you most excited about? Are you allowed to tell us?
Yeah, so we've got the Independent Venue Week coming up in January, which is always quite big for us. In the past, we've had like public service broadcasting. Fatboy Slim was a part of that last year. We've had loads of great bands, Holy Moly and the Crackers, during those weeks.
I was at their wedding. Yeah. Ruth's wedding, she's in Holy Moly and the Crackers.
Yeah, she's like from Beverley originally, isn't she, or something?
Yeah. I didn't know her personally, but my friend Chris brought me on to their wedding, which was really great. It was a really eccentric wedding, as you can probably imagine.
Oh yeah, they're great guys, amazing guys. But all things like that normally, because I think Independent Venue Week, we love them. And they love us, and they kind of see us as a bit of a flagship venue, quite rightly, I'd say, in my opinion. So we normally get quite a good, solid week, but I think a lot of that's going to be live streamed.
Right. What platform is it going to be live streamed on?
I don't know. It'll be Independent Venue Week. Check it out, and it'll be amazing. But a lot of stuff that I was very excited for this year has been postponed to next year. So I'll put it that way. But we have got some very big acts that were going to happen this year are still happening next year.
Can you give us a clue to any of them, or?
I'll say one chap was going to be playing at the Bonus Arena, and he was going to come and do us a secret gig first. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
We'll work that one out.
Right.
Who's definitely played with us before many, many times. That might give it away.
Okay. So what is, obviously, pandemic's had quite an awful impact on people's mental health at the moment. What is something that you're doing at the moment to look after your own mental health?
I just keep busy. I know that's such like a cliche thing to say, but I really do. I just don't let the kind of the darkness envelop me. I just kind of keep busy and just keep talking to people and doing things. I've got the dog that is walking all the time, and I do like a week, and I buy hundreds of records and all sorts. So it's not been great. You know, people have all said that they've kind of saved money because they're not going out anymore. I don't think I've done that at all.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
No, I don't have to go to. Just buy it all online. That's so much quicker.
Exactly. What record are you most obsessed with at the moment?
Oh wow! I'd say it's an old. I'm trying to think of what the correct word is. Native American funk band.
Native American funk band. Please tell me more.
There's only one of them, and they're called Redbone, and the album is Witch Queen of New Orleans. I've been playing that a lot while playing darts in the kitchen at the moment.
Very nice. Cool. So, would you know when the Adelphi Club is planning on reopening, and how is it going to be adapted with all, like, COVID regulations and stuff?
we're currently in talks about what to do if we went down into tier 2 and whether we would open or not. When this happened in October time, we did gigs. We did 2 gigs indoors. The first one was the night before we went in up to tier 2, and that was fine. And then the second one we did in tier 2, which meant everyone had to be in their households, and that one was much less. It was still great and it still worked, but I don't think we could make a profit off it or we could keep it working financially. So with that, kind of experience to draw upon, we're kind of talking at the moment, if we went back into tier 2, or we went down this time into tier 2, would we open again? I think the consensus at the moment is probably no, which is probably means we're looking at a 2021 Adelphi reopening, unfortunately. But we're going to open as like a little shop, I think, just before Christmas, so people can come down and get, their last minute mugs or whatever you want, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So obviously it's a bit financially tight at the moment, but I'm sure with Hull, like Adelphi is just a beloved part of Hull, really, isn't it? So would Adelphi be considering taking on volunteers just to help out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know like the Hebden Bridge Trades Club basically just runs on volunteers, doesn't it, and nothing else. So it's something that's been discussed heavily, and once we reopen, I think it's definitely going to be, we're always looking for people to like sit on the door and people to like kind of just do bits and bobs and help with load-ins and help Jim, the sound engineer, and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that is probably going to be a big announcement next year to try and help us kind of save the pennies even more and keep the doors open.
I mean, it's work experience for people as well. So.
It is, yeah, it's great. We've done a lot of that in the past as well, and had is it the national NCS? That's it, and we've had, kids coming along and working for that, and it's always great. We always love it. So I don't see why not. I don't know if it's my job. I don't think it's my job to hire the volunteers, but I will say I don't see why not. Let's say that.
Yeah, if anyone's interested, where should they? Who?
I think I'd say wait for like an announcement.
Okay.
And we'll probably say we're looking for volunteers, and then we'll do all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So how do you think the way people run music venues is going to change after this pandemic? Because it's been quite a hard life lesson for a lot of venue owners, I think.
Well, I think there's going to be less of them, first of all, which is a very sad truth. But I just think loads of places that were just surviving or were surviving like as a pub with a music venue inside of it, they're going to find it very difficult, because I don't think people are going to start touring again for a while. We relied fairly heavily. We're very lucky because we've got a great local scene, and we're well renowned in the touring scene as well. So, I mean, I've probably got one of the easiest jobs as a booker in the whole country, because people just want to play the Adelphi all the time. So I just put my email out there and I just get thousands of emails every week. But I think for people that are looking to pull in kind of touring acts and stuff, we're even going to find it difficult, because we draw in a lot of European bands, a lot of bands from America, and I don't think that's going to be happening till at least, I don't know, mid to late 2021.
Yeah.
I think the first portion of the year is just going to be UK bands and local bands and things like that. So they're going to find it tough for that. And everyone's just going to feel the kind of, if you've survived, then you've got to start doing really well straight away to kind of pay for the, starting up again costs. And music venues, as a rule, don't really do really well. That's not really like a terminology that you use, and you don't really get into it to make money. So I think the ones that are really passionate about having a music venue and about kind of supporting the music scene are the ones that you're going to see surviving. And I think that's the case pre-COVID anyway. I think the ones that have been closing down over the last 10 years, I think there's quite a good statistic. The MVT said that like in the last 10 years, it's like 74% of music venues have closed down.
That's a huge amount.
Yeah, so the ones that have survived after that are basically already struggling, but you've got some really great people at the helm of these places. You got Tim at the Windmill in London, you got Chris in York, you just got some amazing people, Nathan at the Broodnell, so hopefully that'll all, you know, they'll keep having a terrible time of it, but those places will still remain open.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like that personal drive and like passion for the venue, that's what's keeping it going, isn't it? So what do you want the whole music community in particular to know about the future of Adelphi right now, or take away from this interview?
We're still going to be there. One thing that, as I am getting in further and further into this job, nearly 10 years, I noticed when I first started working there that 80% of contact and gigs that were booked were local bands saying, nobody wants to book us, can we hire out the Adelphi? I want to put on my mate's band and I want to put us on, and then this, I mean, we take all the money. And I'd say, yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Yeah, you do that. That's great. As the years have gone by, that's dropped off. So, like, Hull's got such a thriving scene. When we start back up again, I want to see more young bands, older bands, whatever, I don't care, DJs, producers, theatre companies, just send us an email and hire the place, because if you're local as well, it's a lot cheaper, because we're a community interest company. We do a thing that if you're kind of from. So if I was in a band, which I am, but if I was in a young band and I was saying, we're not getting any gigs out of town, I would look up a similar band from Liverpool, Manchester, Glasgow, and I'd send them an email and say, we'll put you on at the Adelphi if you put us on.
That's a good idea,
At your gaff, do you know what I mean? Like a gig swap. So you get them over, you pay the whatever nominal kind of £50 fee at the Adelphi, you take all your money on the door, give the other band some money, and then 2 weeks later you go and play a gig in Liverpool with them. So that's what used to happen all the time. But then this kind of idea of like, oh, you have to have an agent, or like someone else has to do the booking for you, or you have to go through a booker or like a promotion company or promoter. Just do it yourself. It's called DIY music for a reason. Do it yourself, and I want to see loads more of that next year, because people are all going to be dying to play a show and come and see a show. So do it yourself, put it on. That's what I'm saying.
Brilliant. Great. So just before we finish, thank you for speaking with me as well. It's been really, really positive, actually. I feel quite positive about the future of Adelphi. So just before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to add or plug, even if it's like your own personal music, like your band or whatever? Like, feel free.
Oh, I won't do that. That's a bit egotistical. But what I will do is there's the merch. Obviously, go check out the Adelphi.com. There's a shop button. There's amazing gift ideas for any music lover, anyone that likes the Adelphi. Anyone from Hull really would probably enjoy it, or further afield. But also we've got. Are you aware of a guy called Jimmy Corty? He's an art installation. It used to be in the band called KLF, and about 4 years ago, we had his huge yellow container in the car park as a part of Banksy's Dismal Land.
Right.
And it got shipped up to us, and it was like a miniature city that had gone into a riot, and you look through the peepholes in the container. But he's dropped off his latest one. It's a giant shipping container.
Oh, you just cut off.
As soon as we go into tier 2, so just keep an eye on our website.
You just kind of like froze.
Oh, did I?
So I got to dropped off a huge shipping container, and then.
All right. Well, yeah, he's dropped off another one, basically his latest piece of kind of art installation, and you walk through this one, and it's
Is that just like next to the Adelphi then, or like?
Yeah, in the car park.
Okay, right.
But it's not open yet, so it's going to open when we go into tier 2, and there'll be 10-minute viewing slots that you can book online. So just keep your eyes out for that, because I've had a sneak peek of it, and it's absolutely amazing. It's brought a smile to my face. Well, I've not seen any art in so long. It's just been absolutely beautiful. So that's something that everyone should get down and have a look at, I'd say.
Brilliant. Wow.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I'll be checking that out. So yeah, thank you for everything. Also, for those watching, if you go on to adelphi.com, there is a donate button as well if you want to help support the venue. So yeah, do that if you can afford to. Thank you again, Matt, for your time.
Cheers, Jemima.
Hopefully,
nice
we'll see you next year. Hopefully.
Awesome.